This is Two Owls Talking Sports, Volume 7. I'm Mike Davidson with you here. As always, my partner, John Wiley, Overlake's athletic director, here to talk about all things Overlake sports. John, windstorm yesterday reminds us that winter is here. We also lost a day of some practices, but we are come down to crunch time for fall sports. 4 teams still out there.
Yep.
I want to talk about our two girls sports, soccer and volleyball first. Both of them will see the postseason here in the Emerald Sound Conference Tournament, but both have really steep hills to climb.
Yep. The good news, Mike, we made the playoffs. Not all schools do in these two sports. There are some that do not move on to the postseason. In our case, girls soccer and volleyball are headed to the playoffs. Playoffs start today. I'd like to think of it as a second season, and everybody is 0-0 in the win-loss column right now. So what that looks like is, for soccer, for example, we open today at Wilburton, and this is Tuesday, by the way. We're doing the show on Tuesday because of the windstorm. Tuesday at Wilburton, which is in Bellevue. It's a 3:15 kickoff against those Bear Creek Grizzlies from Novelty Hill as well. So that should be a good one.
And the Grizzlies having a strong season. That's a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, no question. I think they're number one in the state currently, but at the same time, we played them pretty well when they came to our place. I believe it was 1-1 at half. We played a pretty good second half in a maybe 7-minute stretch. The roof fell in on us a little bit, but for the most part, we feel good about the match, and we're going to go out there and play today. So I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but Wilburton is a turf field.
That is a rugged Emerald Sound Conference tournament. The top 10 rankings by RPI in the state at the 1A, littered with ESC squads. So there's 3 teams through the state out of that tournament.
There are 3 teams that of the 8 teams that are in the bracket, 3 will get through to state.
And so that takes us to girls volleyball. Not playoff time yet. One more regular season contest to go, but this week, Saturday, the Emerald Sound Conference playoffs begin for them as well.
Right. They'll finish up the formalities of playing a league schedule tonight, senior night over at Eastside Prep, and then they'll move on to a buzzsaw in the first round, that's for sure. Cedar Park Christian, who finished 3rd last year in state and are currently 3rd, are hosting, it'll be Overlake at Cedar Park Christian on Saturday at 6 p.m.
So we're going to need an upset special out of one of those teams this week. There's still a consolation bracket, right? It's not single out, but they're going to need to pull an upset off sometime if they want to claim one of those 3 berths.
Yeah, win or lose, you move on both in soccer and in volleyball for soccer, for example. I believe that is a Tuesday situation. They're going to move on to a Saturday. If they have to play South Whidbey, it would be on Saturday at 5 p.m. If they play Bush, that's most likely going to be on Friday. And we are on the road the rest of the way. And with volleyball, if win or lose, we play the following Monday. So it'd be Saturday, Monday.
All right, so some possible Halloween specials in there. We'll let you know next week, of course, how that turns out. We haven't talked about our hot ticket of the week, and we also haven't talked about our boys and girls cross-country programs. That's my nominee for the hot ticket of the week. The conference meet is finally here on Saturday. I think that's going to be a real telling moment for these teams as they try and put both teams through to the state meet.
Yeah, that's a district meet, and it's state qualifying. It's really what all the cross-country programs point to, that one day, and the day is in November 1st, and it's Saturday at South Whidbey High School. They host a great meet, the entire conference, and then anyone else left in our district, and there are 1A schools that aren't in our conference but in our districts that can compete, and we will wind up, by the way, that's 11:30 on the girls' side and 12:20 p.m. on the boys. It is a great event.
Get on the boat early.
Oh, it is a great event. It is the hot ticket. We're hopeful that we can send through at least one of our teams. The girls' teams run very, very well this year and has a legit shot. On the boys' side, we have a couple of the fastest kids in the conference for sure. Can we get the whole team through? Well, they'd have to finish in the top 3. On the girls' side, they finish in the top 4. But we feel good about at least one of our teams getting through and a few individuals. And that would be a great season. Hats off to Dave Parsons and his coaching staff for what they have done. That is a very good program. And the following Saturday is state in Pasco, Washington, one of the great events that is run. It's just fantastic, and looking forward to seeing some owls in the field.
And so this is kind of winner take all in terms of qualifying for state coming up this Saturday. Whatever time you put out there on a different course a couple of weeks ago, that's not going to get you through. You gotta show up and do it on Saturday.
You got to run, and a lot of cross country comes down to some of the runners that might not finish in the top half, but might displace others. So it turns into quite a team sport because our eighth runner, who wouldn't count necessarily, even our you can run 7. 5 will score, but everyone can displace others. So it's going to be quite a race, and I like our chances.
So that team, both of those teams relatively healthy going into this big moment. That's the hot ticket. You'll need a ferry to get there at South Whidbey on Saturday the 1st.
And if you're feeling like making a day of it, Mike, you go to that 11:30 girls, 12:20 boys. Then you go into Langley, grab some lunch, come back, and quite possibly watch a soccer game with South Whidbey. We'll see how the opening rounds play out, but that is a very good possibility.
That's the super ticket available to you now. John, I'd be remiss. It's been a little chilly this week, and that makes me think of basketball season. It is actually underway in the gym. We'll have basketball players going as early as today as the boys' middle school teams have their first day of practice. High school not until next month, but if any of our listeners are trying to get a beat on the season, what should they be thinking about?
Yeah, first of all, we're excited to see over 100 middle school basketball players taking part this year. The boys start today, so that's a fair chunk of those. We're going to have 15 basketball teams, 10 middle school, 5 upper school. It's going to be a great season. Our boys return a lot of players from last year's state run. It's one of the best programs in the state. We're excited to see them. And then the girls, I think, will be vastly improved. They've put in a lot of work over the summer. So we'll focus on that in the coming weeks, but it is hoop weather.
Hey, so expectations high going into that. You can expect some more commentary on that from the two of us as the winter goes on. So make sure you get those ferry reservations for Whidbey on Saturday. Hope to see you out there, and we'll be back next week with more of Two Owls Talking Sports.